All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Show, episode 71, with your host, Anchorman V2. Thank you guys for showing up. This week, we have a very interesting show, a little more somber in tone, but we're going to keep it nice and quick and fairly light for you guys as we kind of move on. We have a couple things we need to talk about, a couple housekeeping things as well. But let's introduce our panel for the evening. Nick is going to be showing up a little bit late, but Fame and Mike had to dip out, so we have our our guest for the evening, Mr. Samuel Tolbert. How are you doing, my friend?
Very well. Let's get this show on the road. I mean, I got nothing better to do, so it's always a pleasure to come hang out and talk gaming and stuff with you guys.
All right, we got James Wilson.
You introduced the guest before the host.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. I mixed it up.
Just because I'm like 1,000 miles away doesn't give you the right to treat me as a second-class citizen.
I think it kind of does.
Planet Earth. You shut up. No. Thank you very much. I always love doing this on a 1 a.m. on a Monday morning, Monday evening, Tuesday morning. God, it's going to be one of those shows. James _S Wilson. I like Radiohead and I like films. You know who I am. All
right, guys, we're gonna get into some of our topics for the evening. Nick will be showing up a little bit later on the show. First up, I want to salute my friend Mr. King David for throwing down the gauntlet with Hip Hop Gamer. He graciously lost, but hey, can't win them all. But he did so with grace and skill. So we tip our hats to you, sir, for losing with dignity. So anyway. Moving on to some of our topics for the evening. First, the immortal question we always ask. What have you guys been playing? Let's start with James. What have you been playing, my friend? What you been playing?
Just loads of Bloodborne. I've just been going back because my flatmate's playing through it and watching him go through it. And I'm giving him all the backstory and the lore behind everything because I love all that.
Good man.
Absolutely. So he picks up a little item. I go, all right, can you read that and read why it's important? And watching him realize how characters are related to one another and how certain weapons are really interesting. It's just really good fun. And I've just bought the DLC and I'm going through that for the first time as well. So Bloodborne mostly for me, and watching films as usual. And that's always good. I definitely haven't seen Thor Ragnarok.
Oh man, when you see that, you gotta tell me. I gotta know if it's good.
I'm seeing it in 7 days.
Ooh, 7 days.
Yeah, because Marvel films come out 2 weeks earlier in the UK than they do in the US. Because we're better. And they're made here, so there's that.
Yeah, that definitely does help.
Yeah.
But all right, Sam, what you been playing, man?
I've been playing entirely way too many hours of Total War Warhammer 2. It just came out, a couple of weeks ago, and I've been having an absolute blast with it. If you're into the old, now discontinued fantasy lore before the end times ruined everything, it's a blast to play around with the different lords and what Creative Assembly has taken from it and what they've given their own little twist. There's lots of good stuff for newcomers, but there's a lot of good stuff for fans as well. There's lots of strategic options, and of course, who doesn't like seeing 8-foot-tall lizard men crash into waves of rat men and butchering each other by the thousands? It's great fun. Absolutely great fun. I would be playing Shadow of War right now, but Amazon lost my shipment, and so they're sending me a replacement, which should be here tomorrow. Otherwise, I would be knee-deep into that by now and hopefully enjoying it. Let's see. I've also been playing a lot of Cuphead. Very slow progress, but enjoying it nonetheless. That's a lot of fun. And that's pretty much it.
All right. That sounds pretty good. I myself have also been playing a lot of Cuphead, a lot of Minecraft. I just realized I'm 5 games away from getting my yearly goal. I'm trying to get to 50 games completed, all the way through completed in 1 year. I'm currently sitting at 45, and I got 2 months to go. So.
Oh, you can do that easy then. That's no problem.
I gotta find what games I'm gonna do it with. But I don't like cheating and doing with just a bunch of really quick, easy games. I want games I actually wanted to play.
It's a little late to be saying you're not going to cheese it with cheap and indie games, right? I'm kidding.
Shut up, man. Shut up.
If you want like a fun cartoony game that you can complete quickly, why don't you just get what's that? Persona 5.
Ooh,
Yeah, there you go.
the hottest of takes.
Nice kitty game.
That was a joke about Persona being really long. I have never played it. I have no ill will against the Persona fan base. Please don't hate me because they are rabid.
It's too late. They're already coming for you.
Oh, I can take it.
Hey, people are actually following your Twitter account now.
Yeah,
to burn you alive.
Oh, I just hit 200. Come on, don't do that to me.
All right. So as we've been doing all this month, we've been doing our suggestions for horror movies for you guys to watch. These suggestions are more along the lines of we're trying to give you guys something that you might be a little more interested in watching. The things just slightly outside of the ordinary, things you didn't necessarily think of, but we'll kind of give you an idea. So James, what do you have for your suggestion for this week for the fans to watch? That might be a little different than usual.
Well, I was going to go with something. I was going to go with an Australian horror film called The Babadook, which it has been in public consciousness since it came out. It was a sleeper hit for about a few months, and then it really got a lot of traction. So I'm not really going to talk about that because a lot of people are talking about it. I'm going to talk about the sequel to one of my favorite horror films, which is actually very good. I'm talking about 28 Weeks Later. Or 28 days later, 28 weeks later.
Nice.
Which many people think, oh yeah, sequel, nah, it's going to be terrible. There's loads of good things in this film. It's not as good as 28 Days Later. There aren't that many films that are. It's one of my favorite films of all time, let alone of horror films. But 28 Weeks Later, it's set, ironically, 28 weeks after the events of the first film.
Haha.
It's still in London. But the American government has got involved, as you guys are wont to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, this doesn't sound very different.
And then they set up a sort of military safe zone that's guarded where they will start to rebuild the population of London, and then from that, the rest of the UK. Where, however, I forgot about the opening scene, which is one of the best horror opening scenes of just the infected just invading this cottage in the English countryside and watching someone try and get away out of that is just heart-pounding, brilliant stuff that makes you think, oh yeah, we're going to get into something. And then it sort of quietens down, but this has got a really surprising good cast. It's got Jeremy Renner in it, which is
Jeremy Renner.
This is before Hawkeye.
Nice.
This is before he was in the fourth Bourne movie.
Before he was relevant.
Basically, yeah, this is one of his earlier films, and he does a little good performance. It's sort of what he looked like in Jarhead, a little bit like that. Was he in Jarhead? I'm confusing with Jake Gyllenhaal. I can't remember.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah. Also in this film is Imogen Poots, who you guys might not know. She's an English actress. She's in a bunch of stuff. Also in it is Robert Carlyle, who is Franco, or Begbie in Trainspotting, but Americans might know him as Rumpelstiltskin in Once.
Oh yeah.
In Once Upon a Time, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're referring to. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, people just call it Once, so I just 28 weeks, but 28 weeks later, the whole film itself. It's not directed by Danny Boyle, but it is. You're going to get good scares. You've got good action. You've got great music again from John Murphy, so the same guy. It is a film worth checking out, and one of those horror sequels that is actually very good. So, yeah, 28 weeks later, that's my recommendation. But in the caveat of you should also watch 28 Days Later, which is a much better film.
I remember the first time I watched 28 Days Later. I was watching it. Oh, what was I? No, I was actually flying to Greenwich.
Oh wow!
Yeah, when I was in high school.
Oh,
yeah, I was in high school when I was doing a study abroad trip, and I remember I watched like that and what movie was it? It was Monsters vs. Aliens on the plane.
You watched 28 Days Later on a plane?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
then I watched it later. I really appreciated it on the plane. I was actually like maybe like an inch away from the screen.
It works because the thing about 20, it was made for about £60,000. Even though
horror movies are notoriously cheap, so it's not.
But this one was made deliberately cheap because they wanted so that's why it's shot really grainy. The cameras they got bad cameras and filmed it, so it has this really really edgy realistic feel, and it looks good on basically any screen you put it on.
Yeah. All right. So actually, I just noticed that Nick just popped in here. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, doing well, doing well. Just running a little bit behind. Wife got off from work early, so I had to go pick her up. So glad to be here. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, we're just going over some of our horror movie picks. Sam, I know this is the first time you've been put on the spot here. So what suggestion do you have for the horror movie today?
So this is a bit of a contentious pick, I know, but my suggestion is going to be Event Horizon. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and Event Horizon, it's not so much about the imagery, although there is some very, very horrific, disturbing imagery in the film. It's more the concept and the dread portrayed by the actors that drives the film, at least for me. So obviously you've got Dr. Alan Grant from Jurassic Park in it, and he plays a very interesting role. You've got
this is the actor Sam Neill.
Yes, obviously. And then you've got Lawrence Fishburne as well, who's a bit... He subverts his role a bit compared to some other stuff you've seen him in. And then you've got a bunch of nobodies who... Well, obviously, it's a horror film.
Excuse me, I beg to differ. In the cast of that, you have Sean Pertwee, son of John Pertwee, who was a Doctor Who, and is also Alfred in Gotham.
Nerd.
And also in the cast of Event Horizon is Jason Isaacs. So I get to say this. Hello to Jason Isaacs.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, I'm being a little sardonic. But the point is, so it has a very good cast, and they help to carry the dread of the film very well. Obviously, the setup is going to help if you're a Warhammer fan like I am, because it plays very well as a nice prequel to 40K. But the concept of what happens to the ship and the, not so much extraterrestrial, but the alien threat in terms of how chaotic it is and how unnatural it is, it's a little different than the usual horror film, especially given that it does play the whole let's investigate this abandoned ship / mine / town trope completely straight. So yeah, Event Horizon. If you've never seen it, it's worth checking out.
You didn't really. I just very quickly. This is about a bunch of astronauts who receive a distress call from a spaceship called the Event Horizon, and they go there, and then it sort of turns out that the portal to hell is on this spaceship.
Oh wow. I've actually never seen Event Horizon, so I might check that out, actually.
That's not a spoiler. That is the absolute basic plot synopsis.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be careful how much I say nonetheless, but that's fair. That's a fairly good point. Yeah, it's... The ship is not natural at all. There's something very, very nasty going on with the warp drive technology they're trying to perfect.
It's actually quite an interesting little film. It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who you may know from the director of the Resident Evil films.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. Okay, they're not amazing. The first Resident Evil film is actually pretty good. It's okay. And he wanted to make like a proper horror film, so they gave him $60 million and said, "All right, make what you want." And then he made Event Horizon. He made a just over 2-hour runtime, really, really weird cut with loads of gore. And then the studios came in and just edited it to hell. No pun intended. And the version that was released really, really wasn't very good. So there is in Hollywood somewhere in a room there is the original version of Event Horizon that Paul W.S. Anderson wanted to release that we will never see. There we go.
All right. Nick, you got a suggestion for us this week?
I can't really go in depth in it. It's been a while since I watched it, but my wife brought it up to me on the car ride over. If anyone has seen Sinister, that is an obscenely good thriller. I wouldn't say it's a good horror movie, but I really like. It was one of the first like movies that I would classify as close to a horror film I ever went to see in theaters. My wife kind of dragged me to it. I was kind of like, about it, but as I watched through the whole thing, it was really, really good. It's just a damn shame the sequel was. I don't want to talk about the sequel. It's a really good film. You should check it out. It's about 2 hours long. Yeah, it's just about almost 2 hours long. It's really good. It's got Ethan Hawke in it, and I really like his portrayal. And yeah, it's a good movie. It's kind of supernatural. It's very supernatural. Who am I kidding? It's about a writer that moves into a house with his wife and kids, and son suffers from night terrors, if I remember correctly. And it turns out the family finds out later the husband knew all along that the house had been victim of a series of murders, and he comes across some films and yada, yada, yada. It's really, really good. It's hard to really sum it up really well without spoiling anything out of it, but it's got a really good twist at the end I didn't see coming in theaters. Yeah, it's a good movie.
All right.
Interesting fact about the director of Sinister. Do you know what film he directed last year?
Lights Out? No.
Doctor Strange.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I did not know that.
Scott Derrickson. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So, my suggestion for this week, in terms of it, is something that I guarantee none of you know. So this one was actually more of an interesting case because I got freaked out by it, mainly because it was, that time like you watch a movie, you know nothing about, it just happens to fit your moment exactly. I watched this one. What was it? It was November 2015, and I had just moved. I was in my apartment. I was staying just off campus alone over Thanksgiving break, so there was nobody else there. It was quiet. It was a very empty campus. I would go there to go pick up my food and then come back. And that's what I would do. I did like twice a day. So this movie is called Christie. It came out in 2014. It actually came out on Netflix in 2015 as well. So the basic plot of this one is there's this like cyber cult online. It's basically just like these anonymous people killing they just call like all their victims Christie. It's kind of like killing all these people. Like the idea is like it's all these like perfect people. Oh, like the perfect person. It's very like an anarchist kind of vibe, but go away like a very counterculture kind of thing. And they kill like the preppy kids or stuff like that. Basically, the story is there's this character named Justine, and she's staying in this like northeastern college, like a private university, alone over Thanksgiving, and there's nobody else there. And so like there's like a groundskeeper, and that's it. And so one night, it's like Thanksgiving night, and she goes off to like go to a convenience store and like bumps into this girl, and the girl calls her Christie out of nowhere. And then after that, her and a bunch of other random people are just following Justine and keep trying to kill her. And the plot is basically her going around this empty school at this college and just trying to survive random people trying to kill her. And the funny thing about it, though, is I had lived on a dorm for 3 years before this came out, and I got to see like the security measures, and you see how ineffective almost all of them are. Because it's just random towny people breaking into like colleges and just killing people. It was such a weird thing because I watched it and there was nobody else there on my campus too, and I was like, damn, it's also Thanksgiving break. It was one of those like perfect timing things. It was a fun movie to watch. Good time. So if you're in college, it's a good watch.
Cool. Interesting.
That sort of reminded me of how a lot of people are going to feel in. Do you guys know about this film Happy Death Day that's coming out?
Yes.
Yep.
I've heard about it, looked interesting, have tried to stay away from it as much as possible due to the nature of it.
It's like a Groundhog Day, but someone's trying to figure out who murders them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think if it's not out right now in America, it's coming out very soon.
I think
No,
it's
it's
this
out.
week.
It
Yeah,
actually
it already came out. It already came out.
on
It
Friday the
topped Blade
13th.
Runner.
That's the only reason I remember.
Oh, did it really?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it topped Blade Runner in the things. Yeah, in the box office. It already beat Blade Runner.
It's not in the UK right now, but I think that looks really, really cool.
It does. It looks
So
really interesting.
that's another college-based horror film.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, side note: anybody who watches Trailer Park Boys, Jim Leahy just died.
Boom.
That's not a spoiler. That's real life. The actor died today.
Who is that? What is this?
It's a long story. It's a really, really dumb show, but it's hilarious.
It's also Canadian. Come on.
It's Canadian comedy, but it's Canadian redneck comedy.
What? Oh, I can't be bothered to ask.
We just blew James's
I don't
mind.
watch the show, but I do know enough about it to say, all right, I'm sorry to hear that.
The show is hilarious.
Yeah.
I ended up watching it when I was in college, namely because I just needed something in the background while I was like working, and I figured like, hey, this looks like some kind of like MTV reality show thing I could just tune out and ignore. And so I started watching it, kind of like I'd be in the middle of writing a paper, and like I'd glance over it. And I think like by the end of like season 2, because they're very short episodes, like 20 minutes. Like by the end of season 2, I couldn't write. I was too busy watching. It's such a dumb show, but it's hilarious. Oh my gosh, it just the Swayze Express, the liquor. It's a really dumb show, but it's really funny. But yeah, Jim Leahy was a huge character on the show. It was one of the best parts about it. And he's no longer with us. But anyway, moving on to our main topics for the evening. First thing I want to kind of discuss is the show Naughty Dog. Kind of briefly going over some of the facts. Last Saturday, a couple days ago, we had an individual, a level designer by the name of David Ballard, came out on Twitter. He's also an environmental artist. He worked at Naughty Dog from like 2009 to 2016. Came out and announced that he was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. And this is a very, very touchy issue. I'm going to read the details of this, like his old tweet thing that he laid out there. I'll read this out to you guys, and we're going to go to the details about our opinions about it a little later. So David Ballard tweeted out saying, in late 2015, I was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. My work environment became extremely toxic afterward. In February 2016, I had a mental breakdown at work, and Sony PlayStation HR became involved. When I told them about the harassment, they ended the call and fired me the next day. They cited the company was moving in a different direction and my job was no longer needed. They tried to silence me by offering $20,000 if I signed a letter agreeing to the termination, as well as to not discuss it with anyone. I declined to sign. I have been unemployed for 17 months since. He states that he felt empowered to speak up because of the strength he's seen in others coming forward from the experiences in the teen beer film industry, referring to the whole Harvey Weinstein thing, and that's a whole other can of worms. So one of the things that came out is, so there was everything was in a flurry. Nobody really knew what was going on. There were allegations going around after this on Saturday. On Sunday, Naughty Dog kind of broke their MO about if it's total BS, they don't really talk about it. But in this case, they broke that and issued a statement less than 24 hours later. And the statement that they put on there, and I'll only read the relevant part because the rest of it's just PR speak. So we have recently read on social media that an ex-employee of Naughty Dog, Dave Ballard, claims he was sexually harassed when he worked at Naughty Dog. We have not found any evidence of having received allegations from Mr. Ballard that he was harassed in any way at Naughty Dog or Sony Interactive Entertainment. and the rest of it is just corporate spiel about harassment, inappropriate conduct, have no place at Naughty Dog, and just going down the line. We want to have a safe workplace and such. So these particular things just came out, and that was yesterday when the news had come out. Now, what we're going to kind of get into is the new stuff that came out. Jason Schreier from Kotaku has been doing a bit of investigative journalism, and he has got some more information for us, at least in terms of what's been going on. We don't have, there's no names or anything else still, but he has done a little bit of work here. So he says in his most recent article saying that he had emailed David Ballard for Kotaku, and there has not been a response just yet, which is kind of fine because it's been only 48 hours. So since then, 3 current and former Naughty Dog employees, all speaking under condition of anonymity as to not jeopardize their careers, all said they had not heard anything about Ballard's sexual harassment allegations until this weekend, and that they were disturbed by the news. The employees said they did not know or want to speculate who the alleged sexual harasser may be. Each discipline at the studio typically has 2 leads, and by one estimate, there are about 24 leads at Naughty Dog. So it's out of 24 possible people. One Naughty Dog employee said that he and the coworkers he spoke with were quote-unquote blindsided by the news, and that while he believed Ballard's allegations, he also believed that the studio had been unaware of them. He said, "They're definitely not a culture of covering up bad behavior, and if it were true, he and quite a lot of other people wouldn't be in that company." So since then, it's clear to Ballard's coworkers he was upset during his final months at Naughty Dog. All 3 of them had said. He said his self-acknowledged mental breakdown was clear to everyone at the studio, but people who worked with Ballard said they thought it was the result of Naughty Dog's long hours and high-pressure culture. Then he goes on to a little bit about his background. He worked for them for 9 years. Sorry, not 9 years. From February 2009 to August 2014, when he left for San Francisco to work for Ubisoft for a little bit. Then he returned to Naughty Dog in fall of 2015. One person who worked with Ballard said that the difficulties began then, and that Ballard had told people he was filing HR complaints, although to the person's knowledge, those complaints were not about sexual harassment, but about other issues. So it does confirm that there were HR complaints. So it's not a complete lie. Ballard had said he felt harassed for leaving and then returned to the studio. That person said the person added that they did not know about the sexual harassment allegations until it was posted. And the last portion here I'll read is that in early 2016, the situation worsened, and Naughty Dog's employees confirmed that, as Ballard said on Twitter, he had a difficult mental breakdown. Some of Ballard's troubles became more widely known in late February of that year after he sent a hostile email to a tech artist that was carbon copied to everyone at the company. 2 people said, various rumors circulated at the studio, and the situation was escalated from Naughty Dog's internal human resources department to Sony's HR. So, yeah.
Oof.
I mean, it's a difficult time for a lot of people who are in this industry, but from media and devs as well, and the bravery that's been shown by so many people coming forward and speaking up against this stuff, because it's really, really hard. I can't say from personal experience, but there are friends of mine who have, not to the extent of some women and men, but I it's weird because it's our job to have opinions, and strong opinions and instant opinions on situations like this. But I, for one, I'm going to wait until we know everything, what happened, where it happened, and why. Then I'm going to decide my feelings towards it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sam?
I'm going to have to echo those thoughts. I mean, it's very difficult, and I've been having arguments with myself over it since I first heard the news. It's just, Assuming he's telling the truth, then my thoughts and prayers are with him. I'm sorry for anything that he suffered. That's horrible to hear. But at the same time, my professional opinion dictates that we have to have more information. That's just, there's just someone needs to speak up more. There needs to be a more detailed response. There needs to be something else. That's all I can really say.
Yeah. Nick?
See, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and I've seen a lot of things online that are just unsettling from people, not necessarily industry related, but it's unsettling that there's so many people that are willing to nail someone to a cross right off the bat by blaming Naughty Dog right off the hop, but it's also disturbing how many people are coming out right off the hop and saying Ballard's lying. He's just trying to get a rise out of people. He's just trying to tarnish Naughty Dog's name. You can't really comment on it because there's not a lot of information right now. Like, it's been basically 48 hours. We still don't have more information. Ballard's pretty much, after sending out those tweets, he's gone silent. Whether he's consulting a lawyer on his next step, I'm not 100% sure. I think he was smart in the fact of, if this did actually happen to him, he did not name drop, because if he doesn't have enough evidence going forward, and if he was to drop a name, he would open himself up for a lawsuit. And I know there's already been talks that going forward, that if he doesn't disclose enough information, he could face a libel suit, which is absolutely horrific if this did happen to him. And if everything he says is true, it's just a very, very sad thing to see that the video games industry is mirrored as much as any other entertainment industry, because up till this point, we have seen female developers get harassment and everything else, and it's a rarity to see a male step forward and talk about sexual harassment. But with Terry Crews coming out earlier in the week and talking about some of it, and other male celebrities and movie people coming forward about it and everything else, it's a really hard situation. And I think what people on this panel are echoing is the right idea. Until we know more, you shouldn't condemn either party. Without the proper information, you can rush quickly to the wrong conclusion. If this did happen, I really hope Ballard can find some form of closure. I hope he can find some work. And if Naughty Dog and Sony did effectively try to blacklist him, silence him, and otherwise, shame on them for that if they did do that. But it's all allegedly at this point, so you can't really comment any concrete without concrete evidence.
Yeah. And again, a lot of this stuff is just allegedly at this point. It's just, I think it is important to wait before we see anything. I think at least right now, I'm kind of like up in the air in terms of not who to believe necessarily. The only thing is, like, I look at it as, I can't believe it would happen with Naughty Dog of all places, considering their culture is so inclusive and open. You just wouldn't imagine it would happen there. But at the same time, I can't imagine Dave Ballard of all people. Like, David Ballard has a name. He's a person. It's not like he's just some kind of random low-level guy. He's been around the industry. People knew who he was. And I find it hard to believe he would just kind of come out of nowhere and just make these big claims out of nowhere for nothing. I find that hard to believe unless there was a big issue. And the fact that he couldn't find work for 17 months, I mean, that I find even harder to believe, that anybody who worked at Naughty Dog can't find another job. I can't believe that.
It ends up being what it can be too. I've worked for some very big companies through the years, and I've seen some very despicable HR moves. I actually had a friend that worked in the graphic arts industry, and what can end up happening is, if you file an issue, this was a female, I'm going to say coworker because I've worked in the same place as she did when this happened. We both worked for a graphics studio at the time. I was let go because I wasn't up to snuff, which was fine. I ended up finding other work. She ended up staying. She ended up being sexually harassed by her supervisor. She filed a claim with HR, but the supervisor's brother was part of the HR department. They dismissed her claim and terminated her contract. And then it was her only list of work she had done was with this one specific company, and it made it very hard for her to find work outside of that. It was a real shame how it happened. But the same situations with Ballard. The only work he seems to have done, if you go onto his website, is through the Uncharted series and The Last of Us and level design and everything else for Naughty Dog. So if he left Naughty Dog and they didn't have anything positive to say, even if it was just in regards to his mental breakdown and telling other industry heads like, oh, he's not really good at handling stress or anything like that, he could very easily find himself very hard to come by work because of that. And if that is true and that's what happened to him, it's a shame, really. And it's awful that this happens, because this isn't the first time this has ever happened to someone. This happens all the time. It's just it's corporations, and like, he has nothing to gain from lying about this. Personally, like, I don't know why anyone would lie about this if there's underlying mental issues or whatever the case may be. I can't see a professional coming out. It's not going to do anything for his career to come out like this. So yeah. I don't know.
Like I said, I can't believe he just come out of there out of nowhere and just throw that out there. So yeah, I think we shouldn't completely throw everything out there. The only thing I will say, the one thing I think that was handled very poorly was Naughty Dog's statement. The statement that Naughty Dog handled was way too short, first of all, and two, they're trying to establish like plausible deniability on this, and I get it. I understand. The only thing, Naughty Dog is in the position where if it really did happen, then they want to be seen as far away as possible from this. So they established by saying, we didn't know about it. We don't see an HR complaint. We don't know what's going on. And it's like, okay, I get it. Like they like, oh, we didn't see anything about this. Which, at least according to the Schreier stuff, we already know is not true, because they said that he had filed HR complaints. This is not the first time, so he did file HR complaints, maybe about sexual, maybe not sexual ones, about sexual harassment. But we know that he was having a conversation with HR, and I don't know. And like the thing, like I said, the issue was with the one particular statement from Naughty Dog, because I just felt like it was way too short, and they name and shamed him. Most time, if you have an allegation like that, you don't normally put their name in there to specifically call them out and put that hatred back on them. You don't normally do that. You normally give some kind of like vague PR speak, like there have been recent allegations of sexual harassment. We can confirm that we don't know of any sort of event that's occurred like this, anything like that. But they were very specific to call him out back. So that was not really cool to me. I wasn't really digging that from Naughty Dog.
What I didn't dig from it was the fact that they basically sounded like they had looked into it in this 24-hour period, and they felt no need to dig any further. That statement basically said he can say what he wants, but we're not looking any further into it unless we're forced into it, which eventually they're going to be forced. Because if he eventually comes out and he's got lawyers and he starts dropping names and information and everything else, and they sat there and denied it the whole time and said there was no issue, they're going to be in some trouble. And now there's also the fact, too, that this may not all be on Naughty Dog, as it was very clearly stated. He said he was offered the $20,000 silent treatment by Sony HR, which means that Naughty Dog HR went, okay, we
can't deal with this.
We can't deal with this. We're going to send you up to our bosses, and they can deal with this. Which, to me, if Naughty Dog's HR couldn't handle a standard complaint that reads to me that there was more to it. There's a lot of things pointing to that there's more to this. But everyone tries to make, like, the biggest problem that I've seen on social media is everyone's trying to make it sound like Sony and Naughty Dog may be the first company that's ever tried to cover up bad business. A lot of companies do this. It's whether or not it goes public or not. The amount of people that take those buyout contracts and stay silent is astronomical. It's awful. And I don't know, until more information comes out, you can't really say much on it here nor there. I just hope that it finds a peaceful and I'm not going to say a mature resolution because that's not really possible, but yeah, I hope everyone understands what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So, well, if anything else happens, you guys will be sure to be notified on the Inner Circle Network. If anything does come up, we'll let you guys know. But moving on to a different topic, a little lighter. Who saw the Black Panther trailer?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it.
I actually watched the trailer for once.
Nice.
Yeah. As long as we don't talk about the Star Wars trailer, because I am not watching that.
You should, but okay.
Well, no,
I mean,
according to the director and Mark Hamill, I shouldn't.
No, they changed their minds. I'm serious. No, the director actually said, "Oh, never mind." On Twitter, he said, "I thought they were going to include something that they didn't. My mistake. Go watch it."
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'll send you the tweet if you want.
So Black Panther, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, looking dope, right? It's like for whatever reason, here's what it reminds me. It reminds me of like Numbani.
Oh yeah. No,
it reminds me like the design is like a African Blade Runner kind of vibe. So basically, Numbani at night from Overwatch. That's basically it.
Ooh, I'm down for that. Numbani night map. Ooh.
Oh boy.
But,
it's very quickly on Overwatch. Literally 10 seconds. I played 3 matches of the new Halloween modes. I got some loot boxes, and in those 3 loot boxes, I got the Zenyatta Cthulhu skin, the Symmetra dragon skin, and the Van Helsing McCree skin. And so I thought, right, I'm not playing anymore because I'm done.
I don't care about any of those skins. All I want is my Roadhog skin. That's it. That's all I want.
Which I got out of my first loot box when we were playing together.
You bastard. I got 2 skins out of it so far. I got the Junkrat Junkenstein one, and what was the other one I got?
That's a good skin.
Yeah, it's a good skin. Yeah, but I like Roadhog way more. And what was the other one I got? I think it was one of the newer ones. I didn't really care about it.
Well, if you didn't care about it, it obviously didn't matter.
Yeah, pretty much. It didn't really matter. I was just kind of like, I'd rather play something else. So, but I'm gonna go back on that grind a little later. But so yeah, dope. I am real pumped for Black Panther. It looks amazing.
It really does.
The only thing, my only gripe with it is I don't think they're going for any sort of the spiritual route. Like,
well, maybe.
Well,
I mean, it's difficult to say, but sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, as somebody who knows nothing about Black Panther other than he comes from Wakanda and is a king, that's literally all I know. I think I'm excited for this film because it's the same guy who directed Creed.
Yeah.
As someone who knows a little bit about
sold.
Yeah, exactly, right? I only know a little bit about Black Panther. My comic knowledge is extremely rusty, but I thought that his portrayal in Civil War was phenomenal. Stole the show in many scenes. I think Wakanda looks fantastic. The only thing I'm concerned about is, and you guys feel free to call me out and tell me I'm wrong here, is that it looks like it could fall into the early MCU trap of the villain is the hero, but better. Does that make any sense? It's the same power set, it's the same abilities, it's like a mirror fight, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, what was it? The White Ape. I keep forgetting who they're making Michael B. Jordan into. Was it Kilgore? I forget who they're trying to make him into.
I believe it's the White Ape, but I could be wrong about that.
I'm checking. But keep talking.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what the situation is exactly. It's more. If he's trying to be Kilgore, he's basically more like a mercenary type, if I remember correctly. It's a little. Eric. Sorry, he's playing Eric Killmonger.
Yes.
That's what it is. I always forget.
So he's the bad guy.
Yeah, he's the bad guy, but it's also Claw. Claw's gonna be one of the bad guys as well.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is in this. And Martin Freeman.
He's not going to have a very big role, though. They did confirm that he's more background building stuff up than major.
Claw was never really that interesting, honestly. He was just I want your vibranium. That's pretty much it. Give me your vibranium.
Is it weird that of all the people to have their voice in this trailer first, it's Martin Freeman?
Yeah, with an American accent.
With a very good American accent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you can stop being mad when Americans can start doing really good British accents.
I don't know. I feel like I can be mad after watching Benedict Cumberbatch doing in Black Mass when he was doing a Boston accent. I was like, this is painful to watch.
Boston is hard. Watching Americans try and do Boston is hard.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's going to be a weird movie. I want to see it. I really want to see this movie. I cannot wait for it to come out, but I want more of the spiritual aspect. For those of you who don't know who Black Panther is, just imagine the best possible Batman. In every way.
But that's just Batman.
Shut your mouth.
That's not how I would explain Black Panther at all.
I would. No, in every aspect of Batman, Black Panther does better. Seriously, go pick something. Pick something that Batman's good for. He's smart.
Well,
okay, cool. But he's not the smartest man in the world. Black Panther's in the top 8 smartest human beings on the planet.
Being a detective.
Yeah, and he's the ultimate detective. We're talking tech. All right, well, he's an actual inventor, as opposed to Batman, who is not. He basically just kind of picks and chooses everyone else's stuff, and just kind of works based on that.
You know what this sounds like, though? It sounds like Marvel sat there and wrote a character. They're like, ha ha ha, he's better than Batman in every way. He's
pretty
richer,
much,
he's
yeah.
smarter.
It's like a middle school fight of, oh, wait, he's got this, that's okay, +1 here, +3 over here. Wait, you've got how many billions? Right, we need double this over here. I'm sorry, he doesn't, I've never, not once thought of Black Panther as Marvel's version of Batman, but if you want to go that route, that's not a favorable route. At least in my humble opinion.
We're talking wealth? Yeah, Batman has a company, but you literally have Black Panther who has a country.
What's the superhero everyone knew before Civil War? I'll wait.
Captain America.
Shut your mouth. You Marvel
Superman,
fanboys, I can't even wait
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Oh, boy. But yeah, it's just the thing is with Black Panther too. The part I want to see is I want to see him. There's a scene in Civil War where he's talking about what the afterlife is for Wakanda, and talking about all the ancient kings are in this kind of realm, and they go there and they live forever, and it's it's cool. But what I want to see is the whole thing with the Black Panthers. They're able to actually have access to all prior knowledge gained from past Black Panthers because they can commune with the other past kings, which is dope as hell. But I want to see that. I want to see that kind of level to it, but they're probably not going to do it. So disappointed. But anyway, moving over into actually some side little topics just for now. The sales are going live right now. For those of you that are interested, this is when Microsoft kind of updates their sales because they normally change on Tuesdays, but some of them are going live earlier. For those of you that care, Witcher 3 Game of the Year edition with all the complete everything, $20. You want to get the DLCs, $5 for Hearts of Stone, $10 for Blood and Wine.
I mean, that is just such a bargain.
Or $12.50 for the expansion pass. So save $2.50. Star Wars Battlefront 1 season pass is free again. Ultimate Edition with the season pass is $4.50. Fallout 4 is $20.
That's like $20
season pass is $30.
too much.
James, shut your mouth.
What's up?
Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition is actually $40.
That's not bad.
Battlefield 1 Revolution is $30. Witcher 2 Assassin of Kings is $2.99.
Bloodborne Complete Edition is $20 on the PSN store.
Yeah.
I've already got that.
Right now, The Last of Us Remastered is £12, which is what it will be like $15-16.
Yeah, Last of Us Remastered you can get for cheaper. You can wait for cheaper.
I know, I just want everyone to play it. It's just really good.
All right. Fallout 3 New Vegas $7.50 each. Max Payne 3 $10. I think that's it though. Those are the ones that have been not formally announced, but have already been caught. So, anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about before we head out?
South Park came out.
Oh, South Park, yeah. Anything else?
The disrespect.
Did anyone see the trailer for that Resident Evil 7 free DLC?
I have, yes. I've been keeping up with that very closely. It looks really, really good.
Yeah, and also that same day, there's going to be another piece of paid DLC called The End of Zoe.
Yes.
Or Zoe, as she says in the game. She does. That's how she says it.
Nick, aren't you getting South Park?
Yes, sir. Tomorrow afternoon when I get up.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyone else pick it up?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No.
Yeah, me either.
No, of course not.
Yeah, we're gonna trash this game because Fame's not here to defend it.
I mean, we would trash
it
it
serves him right.
if he was here.
Yeah, we trash it in front of him anyway.
We would trash it more if he was here. We're doing him a service.
It looks like it's okay. It honestly looks like it's okay. Yeah. I'm not getting the complete, absolute freak out people were getting from like Stick of Truth, but hey, it looks like fun.
The only reason I want to see it is because the whole game's gonna make fun of Marvel and DC, and I'm just gonna have a blast with it.
Yeah. Well, of the little bit that I played nearly a month ago, it just I didn't really like the first one, and it felt exactly the same as the first one. So my theory is, if you really like the first one and you really, really like South Park, you're probably gonna like this game. And that seems to be the general feeling amongst gamers. Yeah,
no, like if you're a big South Park fan, you'll love the game. But if you don't like South Park the show, you won't like the game because it's basically the same thing. Like
absolutely,
looks the same. It's just like playing an episode.
You're playing South Park. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
If you get South Park's humor, then have a blast.
So does this make it the best immediate to game adaptation?
Is it really an adaptation though? It's not really like recreating a part of the show or a movie or anything.
No, yeah, you make
it's an entirely new plot that has nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's still an adaptation.
Yeah,
it's still. I would say it's an adaptation. You're adapting
maybe
the sports
TV
material.
license. Maybe TV license game.
In the same way that I was going to say, I was going to say, does the new Spider-Man game count as an adaptation? Then no, not really. I don't know.
They're well. This particular one, no, it's not an adaptation because it's not taking any particular plot line and putting it into it. It's an entirely new story.
But it does have a lot. It does have a lot of in jokes for South Park fans, right? Yeah.
We're probably.
Oh, tons.
Well, I know
Actually,
the first one had a whole plot line about Man Bear Pig. I know that.
There's what I'm looking most forward to is how much of the game is going to be banned out in Australia this time around. Because there was 2 chapters of that game that were removed in Australia. It wasn't even part of the game. They just completely deleted the whole thing.
Damn, I will call my cousin and ask him about that.
Like, I know why they were pulled. There was very good reasons why they were pulled. This is not a game that I'm going to make a lot of progress in because my kids have to be in bed and asleep before I will play this game. But
Were they punching kangaroos? Is that why it was banned?
I don't want to talk about it on air because it's really, really nasty.
Fair enough.
I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think I know what it is. I haven't even played it, but I think I know what it is now.
Is it worse than when we couldn't talk about why Outlast 2 was banned?
Same level. I actually know what he's talking about here, and same level / worse.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Depending on your view on certain topics, and that's all I'm going to say.
I will tell you after the show, James. Just to
okay, cool. And if you want to have these exclusive little extra chats with us, you can give us money on Patreon.
This is true.
How about that?
Man.
How about that for smooth?
All right, so we'll wrap things up here. We'll get this out of the way. For those of you that care, 2 little housekeeping things. One, remember to go check us out on Patreon. We're going to be doing our regular thing. It's going to be a Patreon /TIC network. You can find us on there. There's a couple cool levels on there. Please go check it out. Anything helps. $2 a month is just perfect. You want to just give us $2 a month. That's totally fine. It helps out everything. There's a little giveaway for like $20 gift card each month, so you guys can check that out as well. So we really do appreciate everything you guys can do for us. We do care. The other thing, we are also going to be ramping up the Mixer page. We actually have our own Mixer team page. It's going to be, I think it's TICGN is the thing on there. So it's going to be like mixer.com /group team /TICGN. Please go check that out as well. It's going to be pretty awesome. You can actually look on one thing and see a bunch of different things that we're able to play all at the same time. So like if I'm streaming and Cal's streaming and Nick's streaming, if we're all streaming different stuff, you can actually flip between us on the same page. You don't have to load up a separate page. Actually, it's pretty awesome. So you guys go check that out. Actually. So also, last little thing as well, for those of you that care, we got the Minecraft private server. It's dope. It's hot. It's a lot of fun. We're introducing factions later this week. It's going to be dope. Please go and check that out. If you're interested, hit me up on Twitter, and we'll try to get you in on that server. Because as soon as this month is over, you got it. The only way you could play it, you got to get on Patreon. So get on it, boys.
And also, in the next 6 to 8 months, we'll be adding heists.
Yes.
And this is where you tell us
single player story content.
Actually rob someone.
No, good.
Mode come.
Oh, Battle Royale mode's already there, man.
The thing
It's already there.
When we announce it, the problem is we're going to get calls from the people at PUBG and like saying us, "Hey, like this looks really familiar."
No, it's gonna be Fortnite's gonna be calling us, being like, "Hey, guys, this ain't cool."
And we would know.
All right, guys, let's do some outros for you guys. So I'll start with our guest, Sam. Where can good people find you at?
So if you are interested in following me on Twitter, you can follow me there at Samuel Talbert, TOLBERT. Simple, easy to keep up with. I share my thoughts on games and news. You might like them, you might not. Who knows? You'll have to follow me to find out. And when I'm not spouting nonsense on Twitter, you can find me writing articles, reviews, and news at realgamemedia.com. Family, I'm the assistant editor-in-chief. And if I'm not actively writing something, it's because I'm working on something else so that I can then write about that.
All right. Nick?
Yeah, find me on YouTube, Twitter, everything at Undead3XVI. And yeah, follow me on Xbox so you can be absolutely disappointed in how much further down the achievement leaderboard you are than me.
All right, James.
Well, I am, as we know, the glue that holds this whole thing together. So, if you want more things that are definitely true, you can come and get me on Twitter at James_S Wilson. If you want to talk to me about the films or the Radioheads or other interesting bands, come and tell me. Tweet me your favorite band. Let's do it. I'm very tired.
I can't answer that question in honesty. It'll change in 5 minutes.
Same.
All right. Anyway, moving on through. And Zankerman V2, you guys can go check us out. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up with a Mr. Leahy GIF, and we'll move on from there. Thank you guys for showing up. This has been the Multiverse Show. Thank you guys for all the support. Episode 71 of The Greatest Show on Mondays. And we are out of here, boys.